Welcome back again to my little space on the internet. Today I'm going to be talking about our relationship with ourselves, which, like all the things that I talk about, is an important thing to think about. We ourselves is the person that we spend the most amount of time with, obviously, whether we're alone with other people, we're often thinking about what we're doing, who we are, all these questions of where we're going, the road ahead. And I think that our relationship with ourselves, the various beliefs and assumptions that we hold, are very important to really assess and to contemplate upon. Because, you know, so much of what we do is a function of what we believe ourselves to be capable of doing. And a lot of the time we will needlessly hinder ourselves and our development by holding various limiting beliefs, by holding various assumptions about ourselves that we're not good at this or that thing, that we're only capable of doing this thing. And, our subconscious can, in a subconscious way, hinder ourselves and hinder our expression. We sort of erect these sort of self-imposed cages. And, our models of ourselves, the various beliefs that we hold about ourselves, they can be good or bad, they can be accurate or inaccurate. And, I think a lot of us really benefit from sort of paying more attention to the good beliefs that we have about ourselves in a kind of a gratitude kind of practice where we sort of, not in a sort of egoic way of saying I'm the best or a slightly narcissistic way. It's more about sort of really stepping back, paying attention to who you are, where you've come, and really allowing yourself the space to feel grateful for who you are and what you've done. You know, unfortunately, our sort of culture, we're sort of conditioned into this kind of dissatisfaction with ourselves. We will move and target various goals in life, not from a kind of an exploratory sense of wanting to really see what you're capable of. We will move towards goals in the future, motivated by the sense of dissatisfaction with the now, a sense of lack within ourselves. We feel that we're not enough, so we need to fill that void within us by achieving various external things. And this is a motivating force which does orient a lot of high achievers, for example. They're not necessarily psychologically whole individuals, which motivates their insatiable drive towards getting stuff. But I don't think this is a particularly healthy way to be. It's not a healthy way to feel as though I'm not enough. I am imperfect, or I need to sort of justify my existence by doing stuff. You can do stuff and strive towards important goals whilst still holding that baseline belief or that baseline truth that I am enough by the very nature of my existence. And this is really comes down to the core topic that I'm talking about, which is your relationship to yourself. How do you talk to yourself? Do you have a relationship with your personality where it is a kind of friend, a kind of a collaborator, or is it a kind of someone who is competing against you, that is trying to sway you? Are you trying to battle yourself, or are you trying to find a kind of a synergistic relationship? That's very important, really. And of course, ourselves, we have a whole vast complex of different patterns. We have sort of lower parts of ourselves which are more appetite, desire driven. They're the sort of stuff that will maybe sort of lead us to sort of want, comfort things like, fatty, sugary foods, or, to do the lazy thing as opposed to sort of the more harder and difficult thing. We often also have sort of more what we call higher parts of ourselves that are more sort of in contact with our sort of deeper meaning systems, our deeper purposes, the more sort of the more conscious and aware parts. It's often this sort of the comfort habits, the misaligning things that we do. They're not done with consciousness; they're done with unconsciousness. Like a notification bell will just ding on our phone, and then we just grab it. We're not really thinking. We're not really there in a moment. We're almost just automating through those motions and stuff, and then you find yourself just scrolling endlessly on some bullshit or whatever. And so, yeah, this what I'm trying to get at here is that there are different parts of yourself where we have different degrees of awareness, different degrees of conscious clarity into the dynamics of them, and really this whole process of understanding your relationship with yourself more is a process of bringing the unconscious parts of yourself into consciousness. It's bringing into consciousness all the various beliefs that you have about yourself, what various limiting beliefs there may be. How do you really, to the core of your being, understand yourself to be? What are the things that really motivate you, that truly drive you to do stuff in the world? Are you motivated by truth? Are you motivated by power, money, social status? What are the things that are driving you in the moment? And you'll see what are the things that are driving you in the moment by the things that you are disposed to pay attention to. A lot of your identity, your deepest identity, is tied up within the things that you systematically pay attention to. And I've talked about this a lot on my podcast about how attention is, it's a deep aspect of how we engage with the world, but also how we change our worlds. We can change ourselves by paying attention to ourselves more, by paying attention to the things that we wish to change, to the various tension points within our psyche. Like I've talked about, addiction as is a parasitization of our attention to a kind of addiction object, and we get distracted endlessly into a kind of comfort thing, which provides us a short-term sense of okayness, but it's only short-term. It doesn't last. Lasting fulfillment really is it does come from this whole journey of interrogating and investigating the self, and the aspect that I've talked about in this little episode thing is interrogating our relationship with ourselves, interrogating the way that we talk to ourselves. Do we constantly beat ourselves up for making mistakes, or do we just step back, look at ourselves like we maybe would look upon a child, for example, who's made a mistake? Maybe, of course, we shouldn't treat ourselves as children in a kind of paternalistic way, but especially when we do make mistakes, I think a healthier conscious attitude would be to try and understand the nature of the mistake that we made, understand the reasons why we chose that decision within the moment, to have a kind of emotional empathy for ourselves, for making that decision, but also trying to integrate the lessons from it so that you don't continue to make those mistakes. And this is a movement towards understanding, and the movement towards self-criticism that many people will often have, where they'll think that, oh, I'm such an idiot for making that decision, where you just inflict more psychological trauma on yourself by just hitting yourself psychologically. That sort of movement of criticism, it's often unproductive. It just creates more attentional energies being deviated through this motion of criticizing oneself. And we should be highly conscious of how our attention, the things that we say to ourselves, they are sort of allocating the limited energy that we have, and our energy is very much tied into what we pay attention to. So if we're constantly paying attention to all the lacks, all the things we've done wrong, all the ways in which we're bad, you are giving that aspect of yourself more reality, more emphasis. But conversely, if you make a conscious movement of your attention towards gratitude to the various good things that you have about you, or the good things that you're moving towards. You know, when you move your attention, when you move your energy towards those sorts of certain things, you are giving more reality to the positive aspects of your relationship with yourself. So, to summarize, really, we should be really conscious of the way in which we talk about ourselves, to the various beliefs that we have about ourselves, and the extent to which those beliefs truly match reality. And we should be conscious of how the beliefs that we have about ourselves, we should be conscious of how those beliefs can create a kind of a self-reinforcing aspect, where if you believe yourself to not be capable of a certain thing, when you try and do it, that limiting belief will, in fact, have a self-fulfilling prophecy of it will prevent you from doing it. So, yeah, I think I'll sort of leave that at that as a sort of a short, snappy kind of video. But yeah, treat yourself as a friend, not as an enemy combatant. You know, try and find different methods towards aligning the certain, lower, higher aspects of yourself towards a sort of a synergized direction, so that you're moving towards something that is aligned and feels truly natural to you. But yeah, I hope that's been interesting. Like and subscribe, all that sort of jazz, and have a good day.